Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Fofl Bofl. I'm your host, Mark, or by Mark.
I'm Greg, or because I'm GB.
And
I'm
this
Anthony.
week we are... No, Anthony, no.
Sorry.
We've done this before. Come on now.
Forget.
This week we are joined again with Anthony, and as every guest does, interrupts me while I'm trying to introduce them. One day you guys will all learn how this flow goes. Anthony, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Still ready to talk some football.
Obviously, you're cutting in early.
I was anxious.
Anxious. No, we are excited to be joined with Anthony again here. Glad to have you back, sir. How are both of you gentlemen early on in the week here?
Made the playoffs, so I feel great.
Hell yeah.
It's a pretty bad week for me in multiple reasons and sports-related news. Baseball's not great. Football's not great. My fantasy is actually really good in every other league that I'm in besides this one, but I'll talk about it more later. There are a few people in this league that let me down, and it's made me very sad.
Yeah, how many? So, Anthony, remind me, how many leagues are you in?
I'm in 7, and in 5 of the 7 leagues that I'm in, I'm either in first or second place. So I have a bye this week,
Look at you.
which is great.
Look at you. Yeah, I was telling Greg earlier, I've made it into all of my Dynasty playoffs except for one, and that's in the White Elephant League, where halfway through I just blew up my team, so not expected to make the playoffs. So everywhere that I was trying to make the playoffs, I have done so on the Dynasty side. Redraft, not so much. We won't talk about that.
It's not even real.
It's not even real. It doesn't even count. What about you, Greg?
I made the playoffs in exactly one league, and that's this one. No, I made it in 2. I made it into the family league, like by beating Brian at the last minute. So I think I bumped in. I think I got my way in at the last second. So I made it in 2 leagues.
Nice.
Out of how many?
5.
5? 2 out of 5 is not bad.
Nice.
Especially a couple of those are Dynasty and you're rebuilding. So, again,
Yep.
not to be expected to make it. So, realistically, you're only trying to make the playoffs in a couple of those leagues. So,
I snuck in at the last minute in the family league. Let's go.
Winning is winning.
I did not. I really was bad in redraft this year. All of my takes were wrong. So, we'll move on to next year. But as we started last week, I'm going to start with a quick icebreaker with you two. I won't make you do a would you rather again, but I am going to make you spill the beans. Do you have a secret talent? Tell us about it.
No.
I mean, no, everybody's got a secret talent. Everybody can do something stupid.
I may have something that my wife thinks is impressive. I think everybody can do it, but I can blink both of my eyes consecutively very quickly. Not at the same time,
Like
but one at a
blinking?
time. Yes.
I can't do that.
Like alternating back and forth.
Yes. I don't think it's impressive. She thinks it's like super impressive, which is
Do it.
lovely, and
Show
I
me.
appreciate it.
Great
All right.
podcast
All right, ready?
right now. Yep, go for it.
I can't even tell if I'm doing it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can't really see your eyes, so that was great. It was great visually, just as much for the podcast as it was for me. You didn't miss
Yeah.
anything.
There you go.
What about you, Greg?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know that I have not one that comes to mind. I know that's disappointing for the sake of this question, but
Okay, if you wanted it, if you could have any useless talent in the world, what would it be? While you're thinking on that, mine is just I don't know if it's like any one thing, but my eyebrows. I have a lot of control over my eyebrows. I can raise
I like that you just
individually.
did
I
that.
can do kind of both of them at the same time. I can do the worm with them. I used to be able to. I haven't done it in a long time.
When you did your eyebrows the first time, it kind of looked like Botox face a little bit. But no, when someone gets Botox and it doesn't look great, I'm not saying you don't look great. You look great, of course. When you do it, when your eyebrows,
dare you, sir.
when it lifts outside that way, it looks like Botox face.
Does it have to be something on my face?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a useless talent that would be fun would be like, I don't know. Like, I'd love to spin a basketball on my finger. That'd be cool.
Okay. That's a good one. I can't do that. Not for any like sustained amount of time, anyways.
Or dunk a basketball. That'd be cool.
I don't dunk.
Don't dunk.
You should be able to dunk a basketball, Greg.
I can't jump.
Okay, but practice. Get
I
better.
don't know if you know this about.
Get better at jumping.
I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I'm not very athletically gifted. So,
Well, learn something new every day. All right, we'll move on to the quick question. Not really a quick question this week, but I wanted to kind of take a glimpse back on the regular season like rankings of the position players. So we've got at the quarterback position the top 10 for the regular season of the fantasy football season. Here we've got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, not Bayfield as I put in there, Sam Darnold, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, Bo Nix, and Pat Mahomes. Anybody surprise you there, gentlemen?
I don't know about surprising being the right word, but it's one of those things where it's crazy to see Joe Burrow at number 3 and then the Bengals kind of having the record in the season they ended up having, like in real life, that's kind of mind boggling a little bit.
Sam Darnold on the list, that doesn't surprise me. Just want to throw that out before I get into anything else. I would say, I feel like at this point, at the beginning of the season, Bo Nix probably.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield being in the top 5. I think Baker had the potential to be in the top 10. I didn't realize he'd be in the top 5, which is pretty crazy considering the injuries he's had too. So I think that's good on him.
I think Baker and Sam Darnold are the easy ones to call out there for sure. I think though that if you look back at the last the second half of the season rather than going all the way back to the preseason expectations, I think it's surprising that Pat Mahomes is still cracking the top 10 because he did not look good to start the season. And I know he strung together a few games, but KC's barely winning games. So I was surprised to see Pat Mahomes still cracking the top 10.
I was going to mention Pat Mahomes actually after you guys gave yours, but yeah, he's one of those that he didn't look very good in the beginning of the season. And then maybe I carried that mentally, through the second half of the season, but it just feels like he's, the fact that he's top 10 is crazy because he's such a disappointment, I feel like fantasy quarterback this season, but he's still a top 10. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It is surprising to me because it just doesn't feel like he's put up a top 10 performance, especially compared to the rest of the people on this list. Clearly I'll take them all over Pat Mahomes, but they all feel like they've had a much better season than Pat Mahomes has.
For sure.
All right, we'll jump into running backs. Top 10 running backs for the regular season here. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Joe Mixon, Devon Achane, and David Montgomery. So I'm just going to call out the fact that it's ridiculous that Greg has number 1, 2, and 9.
Your boy.
That's why he's as far as he's gotten. They're carrying him on their back.
Yeah, you fucking right. Yeah, I would say that I don't know about surprised, but relieved to see Devon Achane in the top 10. Especially with Tua gone.
Mm-hmm.
It was not looking great. And, he's very obviously a favorite target of Tua, so he gets a lot of points just from screen passes and then, carry him for however many yards. But he somehow he still feels super fragile, even though he's like had some pretty big hits and he's been pretty consistent in terms of like playing, ability this season. The only other one is Kyron Williams. It's one of those that like, I feel like this has been a player that, he has just weeks where they just they feed him touchdowns. But then like, otherwise it just feels like he's a little bit quiet. I don't know. Other parts of that Rams offense are being talked about way more than he is,
Well, he was the only show in town for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those that like, he's a name that like, I think some people bought in on and some people were kind of maybe like, I don't know, maybe you just had a lucky year last year, but he's looked good, so.
Only surprise, not a lot of surprises on it, to be honest with you, but maybe Alvin Kamara being number 5. He literally had half of his touchdowns in one game at the beginning of the year. He has 6 rushing touchdowns, and 3 of them came in one game. So if not for that one game, he'd probably be a lot lower. But yeah, other than him, I feel like everybody on that list makes sense.
Well, everybody on his team keeps getting hurt, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, wide receivers, top 10, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, JSN, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas Jr., and Cortland Sutton. Lots of surprises here outside of the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, Cortland Sutton at number 10. Hello?
Right?
I didn't see that coming.
Like, when the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
Right. And then JSN being the only fucking wide receiver from the Seahawks on here.
Yeah.
When it feels like, especially the first, 3 games?
3 or
feels like they
4
weren't
at
using him.
least.
They weren't using him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Cortland Sutton, Brian Thomas Jr. potentially, because, I mean, he is a rookie receiver being where he's at. I'm not that surprised with that being the rest of the list. Yeah, I mean, it's a good list of receivers. Just the bottom 2, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little surprising to me that Garrett Wilson's number 8. The Jets haven't been good. Garrett Wilson's been super inconsistent. So, I mean, just those bottom 3, Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas Jr., and Cortland Sutton, tell me that the wide receiver position has been really inconsistent this year, because I feel like none of those guys are putting up consistent weeks, back to back.
Well,
and
if
kind of
Puka wasn't hurt.
Yeah, that's true. I bet you if we looked at this on a points per game basis, Puka's probably up there. Nico's probably up there. So yeah, injuries play a part in this, but yeah, wide receivers just don't feel like a strength this year. I feel much better about the top 10 running backs than I do about the top 10 wide receivers.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
It's funny that Jamar Chase is at the top because, like, the very beginning of the season, everybody got like real jittery there for a second.
I made a really good trade in another league for him after week 3. And I was like, if this works, I'm going to either look like an idiot because Jamar Chase is not like going to play this year, or I'm going to look like a fucking genius. And I did. And I got the number 1 seed in that league. So
it worked.
Okay. I'm excited to kind of talk about the tight ends here.
All right. We'll jump to the tight ends. The top 10 tight ends. We've got Brock Bowers, George Kittle, Trey McBride, Jonnu Smith, Travis Kelce, Cade Otton, David Njoku, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft, and Zach Ertz. Go ahead, Greg.
All right. So I'd argue that half of this list is exactly who you'd expect to be in the top 10. I'd argue that every single one of them outside of George Kittle, maybe Trey McBride, but outside of George Kittle, is sitting in a different position than you would have expected at the beginning of the year. Not you specifically, but like the royal you. But like the craziness that is Jonnu Smith on this fucking list is crazy to me because like he is like what? Last game we were watching and he legitimately didn't have a single catch until overtime. Or was it the final drive?
No, overtime.
And then he ended up getting 3 catches for, like a touchdown. And it's, where did he come from? You know what I mean? Like the fact that he's number 4 and it feels like he's only been like even fantasy
So-
relevant realistically for the last 2 weeks.
No. So since week 5, 8 targets, 7, 6, 6, 4, 8, 11, 11, 4.
And he's catching a decent percentage of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So at the tight end position where there's not a whole lot going on, all of a sudden you have 5 catches a week. You know, that's going to propel you up there. But yeah, who'd have thought that Jonnu Smith was going to be relevant this year?
But ranked higher than Travis Kelce.
Corey has 3 of the top 10 tight ends. That's wild.
Yeah, he does. And I think he plays the wrong one every week.
Who is he starting every week? Not Jonnu Smith?
It's somebody different every week.
He gets the worst of it, but then ends up scoring 200 points.
Yeah, because the last few weeks where I've been going in and putting in the reasons for why you should vote for this, person for GM of the week or for the start of the week, I've looked at Corey's team and I'm like, oh, you played, Jonnu Smith. Oh, you played David Njoku. Oh, I wonder how that worked out. And you go look at his bench and Pat Fryermuth had like 22 points to the 17 that he started. And I'm like, well, that didn't work out for you. I cannot praise you for that.
Yeah.
I also love that, what I was going to say is not that he needs it, but I just want to give, Brock Bowers his flowers here. I don't that, Poet didn't know it, but the fact that he's had the quarterback situation he's had in Vegas, and frankly, you don't want any other single fucking piece of that team. Maybe Jacoby Myers every once in a while, but realistically, nah, I'm good. And then, but Brock Bowers has just been such a stud all season. It's crazy how good he is.
I would say he's the reason I've won a lot of my games. So, well, a few of the games that I've won, but I mean, those are like a few big 30-point games that really helped me out. So,
yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
He's the piece you currently have that you're most excited about, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he feels like
if you're not, please tell me now so that I can trade him away from your team.
I'll hit up Scamma Jamma. He's got the goods if I need to trade Brock Bowers.
I'll tell you what. I'll put together a 3 or a 4 team trade, and I will get you Jahmyr Gibbs and Anthony Richardson.
Oh my god!
And you can give me Brock Bowers, and we'll call it even.
I'm gonna pass, but thank you. I appreciate it. Always thinking about me.
I'll never let you acquire Brock Bowers, Mark. So don't include me in any of those trades.
I have a few leagues with Brock Bowers, dynasty leagues, so I'm happy with my exposure there. Anthony can have him in this league as much as I would like to have him.
Also, shout out to Kate Otten. You know what I mean? Just absolutely capitalizing on the opportunity he had when those guys were out.
Yeah.
And making it all the way up to number 6.
Yeah.
Tight end of the season. Crazy.
All right. Last grouping. I just did IDP altogether. So the top 10 IDP for the regular season was Zach Bond, Buda Baker, Andrew Van Ginkel, Zaire Franklin, Nick Cross, Jamian Sherwood, Nakobe Dean, EJ Speed, Robert Spillane, and Caden Ellis. I know 4 of those names.
I'm excited to have number 3 on this list.
Nice. He is good. Very good.
Yeah,
whenever you have
not much. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Anthony.
Whenever you have a lot of points and I just want to look at who's doing what on your team, it's always him. He's always got 20, 25, 30. It's crazy how good he is.
Yeah, he gets a sack. It feels like he gets at least a sack or a forced fumble a game. It's crazy.
So once again, I will get on my soapbox and call out the fact that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the top 10 are linebackers. You could argue Van Ginkel is a defensive lineman more than a linebacker, so I'll give you 7 out of the 10.
He's a standing DN, so.
We need to do something about IDP scoring.
In terms of what?
Big 6s are 100 points.
That's it. Your week is over.
Until your fucking DB gets a pick six. Imagine all of a sudden, like, we have a week where you and the guy you played both scored pick sixes, and it just comes down to like fucking, whatever else happens on your team. So you both like have set records for scores, but you lose. That would suck so bad.
I personally like the IDP scoring. A lot of people on this list, I'll just for me, for example, I had Zach Bond at one point, picked him up this season. Nick Cross, I currently have picked him up this season. Just kind of took a shot at it, and he's been working out. Jamie and Sherwood picked him up this season. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for people to just kind of take chances with the defensive players, and like early. Like if you don't get it early, it's just not going to happen. You kind of see, like if you pick up a defensive player within the past couple of weeks or now, or whatever the case is, like you probably missed out on a good defensive player because everything's kind of set. Injuries happen, whatever the case is, so somebody steps up. I think that's kind of what happened with Zach Bond.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the IDP needs to be expanded. I don't think that we need more positions than what we have. I just need to prop up defensive backs a little bit. I don't think there's anything I can do to prop up defensive linemen, unfortunately. But I think that we need to increase the amount of points for passes defended and for passes intercepted so that this list becomes a little bit more 50-50 DBs and linebackers. Because right now, DBs are borderline useless. Because when you look at the list, it's like 80% linebackers, 70% linebackers in the top 50, right? So that needs to be better balanced. And the only way that I can think to do that is to give those things more points, those stats more points. But what I don't want to have happen is all of a sudden we boost that, and now it flip-flops, and DBs become 7 out of the top 10 next year because, we all of a sudden give them 15 points for everything they do.
I like the idea of like a half a point for pass deflections, like a raise it a half a point or something. I mean,
almost like a catch.
Yeah.
Like give them a half a point and then it's just like a catch.
Yeah, I think that's something we can definitely toss around before next year or next year.
I agree that I think picks should probably be worth more. I'm coming around on this idea a little bit. I just think that I agree. I just also think that like arguably outside of the like stud DBs, fucking linebackers tend to be the most important, impactful position on the football field from a defensive end regularly.
Say that one more time.
On any given play, it's a really good chance that a linebacker was the impactful player on that. Like, I just feel like there's like, they do a lot. So there's a reason there's a lot of them up there because, they're the ones with the most tackles.
From a stat counting perspective, the issue with IDP that I've always had with defensive backs in particular is that there are more important stats that are not counting stats. For example, I don't know any numbers, so I'm not going to give you any. But for example, it was like Revis Island there were some stupid low percentage of throws to that side of the field every Jets game. You can't give Revis points for that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that.
So you're not even recognizing what they're doing. So that's always my, pushback, my devil's advocate, is that you're just rewarding more stat counting. But I'm always in favor of increasing the player pool that we have access to that are actually useful pieces on our team. So if we can all of a sudden prop up another 10, 15, 20 players that can crack the top 50 in the IDP department, all of a sudden now that's another 15, 20, 30 players that we can all fight over with waiver wire claims. Trading is going to be more valuable. All of a sudden, 4th and 5th round picks become more valuable because you have defensive backs that get drafted in the 1st and 2nd round of the real NFL draft that are worth gambles on that side of the ball. So I'm always in favor of boosting points that are going to make that's going to prop up other people. it's the reason why we have half point PPR, right? And it's the reason why we have a half point PPR bonus to tight ends, because we want to give them more relevancy in the league.
Yeah, the guy from Colorado wants to boost defensive backs the year that Travis Hunter's about to go into the league. Suspicious?
I don't have any picks, Greg.
I'm just kidding. It was just a joke.
I'm picking shit. All right. Perfect. Anything else to add there on the top 10 review?
I don't think so. I mean, it's always exciting to kind of see where everything kind of shakes out in the end. And like, you know, it's fun to see when you have a lot of stake in a lot of players and you kind of see how right you were and how wrong you were, you know? It's always interesting.
I like that there's multiple rookies in there. That's cool to see.
Yeah, you've got, let's see, in the top 10 positions, you've got Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix at quarterback. No running backs.
Nope.
R.I.P. Jonathan Brooks.
Brian
Thomas Jr. Got a couple sophomores in there. Then you got Brock Bowers at number 1 on the tight end. Yeah. Rookies, there's always impactful rookies. It's just a matter of how long do they actually stay impactful. It does seem like we have a pretty good draft, though. Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix both look legit. Caleb Williams looks legit, in my opinion. It's just going to take him a little bit longer for fantasy relevancy.
Gets sacked 80 times.
Yeah, for sure. It's not his fault. Brian Thomas Jr.'s up there as a surprise to me, for sure. Brock Bowers, surprising that he's number 1, but not a surprise to me that he's top 5.
Did you draft him, Anthony?
Yeah, I think I picked him with like the 6th pick or something like that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
All right, perfect. Let's jump into week 14 review. As usual, we'll go through the pick'em results. Go ahead, Greg.
Okay, so the pick'ems this week, I felt like just generally were kind of low in terms of how many everybody kind of got right. But Rob came in first with, 10 points. Ryan second with 9. Bo in third was 7. And then everybody else after that was 6, 5, 4, or 1 correct. It looks like Corey, being out on the boat, didn't get to pick until Monday night. So that's unfortunate for him. But some big picks I want to call out are Ryan and I being the only two to pick the Jets to cover the spread here. I just knew it was going to be a close division game, and frankly, maybe I'm just a pessimist, especially considering who my teams are. I don't have faith in my own team right now. And then interesting that nobody picked the Rams. We all picked Buffalo, and the Rams won the game. Not only covered the spread, but won the game.
That game was insane.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
Like, what the final was 44-42, right?
Yeah.
Highest points total for the season. And
Josh Allen was the first quarterback to ever rush for 3 touchdowns and throw for 3 touchdowns in a game.
Get Up actually corrected that. He is the second. Otto Graham did it.
Who the hell?
Well, you should know who Otto Graham is.
I don't know who that is.
But yeah, he's old-timey football. Barely counts.
I'm going to look him up right now.
Also interesting that Rob and Ryan, being 1 and 2, are the only ones to pick Green Bay to cover against Detroit. That game was actually a really good Thursday night game. I mean, it was, Detroit's involved, but it's just glad to see that it wasn't a waste of a night, What about you guys? Anything crazy out there?
I just want to give an honorable mention, a shout out, if you will, to Anthony and I sucking absolute ass this week and getting 4 points.
It's honestly embarrassing.
Well, Anthony picked against his own team to pick his wife's team.
Yep.
And then you picked. Did you pick? Oh, New England was on a bye week, right?
Yeah.
What was some wild pick that you made?
All
Oh
of
yeah,
them.
apparently. But you picked Philly.
Yeah, that's not wild. They should have fucking smacked Carolina.
Yeah.
Picked Buffalo. Just kidding. We all picked
A lot
Buffalo.
of people pick Carolina, surprisingly. That's a little shocking there.
I convinced everybody from my last episode
okay.
that Carolina was the pick. And guess what?
It worked.
Yeah, so I lost 2 bets this week. I lost the bet to Greg, and I lost a bet to Anthony when Juan Soto did not sign with the Red Sox. And now we're both sad, but I think Anthony's a little bit more sad because he actually lost Juan Soto. I just had a glimpse of hope there for a second, and my team ended up in 3rd place. And I think 3rd place is better than 2nd place in this scenario.
I'm not as sad as you may think I am. It does suck. And we can talk about it. If you want my thoughts, we can talk about it in chat. But whatever.
Oh,
You got Max. You just got Max.
I'm very excited about that, actually. I'm very excited about that.
Oh, I didn't see that actually.
For like 200+ million.
218, 8 years, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry.
This is a baseball podcast.
Yeah, we just switched over right now. Welcome to it.
I will say that while obviously he didn't get the, I guess we don't have to talk about it right now, but Jalen Hurts ended up with 3 touchdowns. It's just only one of them was a rushing touchdown, so he didn't necessarily steal 3 of them from Saquon.
No, he didn't. So you were wrong about that.
Shucks.
All right, we'll jump into the fantasy matchup results here.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go in the order that we reviewed them last weekend. So unfortunately, we will start with my very frustrating matchup against Matt.
Oh
my God. Josh Allen can go fuck himself. 6 touchdowns against me. I had to play him in 2 leagues this week. Obviously, this one matters the most. And I know it didn't matter, but I fucking hate the fact that I scored 214 and still lost.
I mean, it should be encouraging that your team can score 214. So
without Lamar Jackson.
But I mean, yeah, Josh Allen scored 58 points essentially.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. But he also played Zach Charbonnet and Jordan Addison, who both got collectively like 70 points.
Look at his team. He had 3 or 4 players do well. Everybody else did mediocrity at best.
A goose egg.
Yeah. Generally got him 0 fucking points. I lost to 4 players this week.
the perfect 4 players, you know?
Matt scoring that many points really upsets me. It just bothers me so much. Matt scoring that many points upsets me to no end. I hate it. I'm sorry. I didn't want that to happen for me, but also for you, of course. But screw you, Matt.
You know what's wild, though, is that 241, we'll get into it, obviously, but 241 is not even the fucking most points for the week, and that's so many points.
Yeah, Josh Allen did have the most points. It hasn't updated yet, but most points ever scored since the beginning of our league by any player.
Oh, really? That was the top? I didn't look at that one.
Yep.
All right, yeah. I mean, just other notable players. I mean, because they're kind of all over the place in this matchup. Puka is a beast. I love having him on my team. This is the only share that I have of Puka, I think. So I'm very excited to have Puka.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the other segment, like if he wasn't hurt, then he'd be a lot higher up in terms of the, overall standings because he's very much showing that last year wasn't a fluke.
No. Did you see that fucking catch he made?
Oh my God.
The one that was on the sideline.
Oh
yeah.
It looks like he just floats and then like somehow extends his feet. Like, how did you do that? Fucking Michael Jordan shit in Space Jam. His toes just extended.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, that catch was fucking nuts.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. So, and Matt Stafford has continued to show that he can put the ball exactly where it needs to be. So,
Yep. Yeah, the Rams are interesting. If they make the playoffs, I wouldn't feel comfortable playing against them.
Aaron Donald comes out of retirement. No, I'm just kidding. Let me get
Yeah.
one more ring.
I mean, yeah, their defense is questionable, but their offense is scary.
I mean, he can clearly score with anybody.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like keep up with anybody score wise is what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next matchup was, we won't spend too much time here. Ryan versus Brian. 118 versus 94.
Brian almost won this.
I don't love the Ions. Wasn't he predicted to win before this matchup?
No, Ryan was
No?
projected to win, but during the games on Sunday, for a good portion of the afternoon, Brian was projected to win.
Basically until Will Levis kind of got hurt in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Poop.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else to say about either one of these teams other than the fact that, actually, let's pause here. Who has the better team? Who finishes better next year? Ryan or Brian?
If both of them quit the league and I had to pick a team to pick up between the two,
That's a good way to look at it. Let's do that.
I think I pick up Brian's team. I think there's still a lot of work to do, but I feel like you've gotten off of a lot of the player, like Cook is the last player to maybe get off of like right now, but otherwise, like, you know, he's got Will Levis, who could be fantasy relevant. JSN is a player that finished in the top 10 this season. Jerry Jeudy has had a weird like resurgence the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's been fantasy relevant. I think Cole Kmet will prove to be a valuable fantasy option once Chicago figures out how to use tight ends and protect the quarterback other ways. MVS is like obviously a kind of a, you know, I feel like a flash in the pan situation.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I feel like with a few quarterbacks and a couple pick trades, he could make things hit. He could 3 years from now, he's like in a pretty solid position, I think, potentially. So,
yeah, I think I'm excited more about Brian's wide receivers. So that would probably give the edge to Brian for me as well.
Yeah, if this was 2026, I would say Ryan, but next year, I think Brian does have the better team.
All right, next matchup was Greg beating Coulter. Greg, go ahead.
Well, Coulter, you said you didn't have a quarterback, and then you threw Desmond Ridder in there, and apparently the football gods wanted to help you out just ever so slightly, and they made what's his name, Aiden O'Connell, air casted off of the field, and Desmond Ridder got him 3.34 points. But yeah, we knew what was going to happen here. Sorry, Doug.
Yeah, he tried to get Mac Jones from me, but it wasn't happening.
Well, I guess
he was offering.
That's confusing piece because like, what's the point of trying to get Mac Jones if you're not even making the playoffs? You're just trying to. I don't understand that.
I didn't understand it either.
Interesting.
It was just nice that, I mean, I scored 179, so like I'd like to score more, but you know, like Amon-Ra had kind of a disappointing week, and then Calvin Ridley has been okay, but like he's not somebody I'm excited to start regularly, so hopefully I'll have better options.
Yeah, you didn't have Derrick Henry either.
Right. So I feel okay. But yeah, it was nice to make sure I get the win. So who?
Me?
Nah.
What do you mean, nah?
If you don't sit your players when you play me, that's homophobic.
Oh,
we won't meet up until the championship, Greg.
Okay. And when it's a gay final and you don't let me win, that's homophobic.
No. You are my elder. You're supposed to pave my path. The gay path should be paved for me.
Supposed to respect me.
Anything else you want to add here?
Nah, I mean, Coulter, like we talked about last week with him on the podcast and just kind of have beaten to the ground all the season. It just feels like he's had one of those like unfortunate seasons. And I think next year could be a completely different experience. So GG's on to 2025,
All right, next matchup is Bo beating Alex. Always puts a smile on my face when Alex loses.
Yeah, I need him to lose next week too.
That will put a smile on my face.
That's crazy.
I will give Alex credit. Is he seems to have all of the right like he gets all of the right like backup quarterbacks, like in having Malik Willis towards the beginning of the season, and now Cooper Rush, and then Joe Flacco. But yeah, I mean, we knew Bo was going to win this, so.
Yeah, both of the quarterbacks on his bench he didn't start scored more points than the quarterbacks that he did start. Not that it would have made a difference, obviously, but funny story about Alex real quick. I did offer him Isaac Guerrero at one point in the year, and he said, "Nah, CMC's coming back," and I was like, "LOL." But then he said, "I like Jordan Mason anyways." I was like, "LOL." But okay, that's fine. You had your chance, and you lost.
He's in a ball. All right. So Alex is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the league for max points for. So he's smack in the middle. Yeah. And he's number 6 in points for. So he did slightly less on the ranking wise, setting his lineups versus the max points for. So I feel like that's been a theme from him lately because he was like complaining about not setting a lineup to save his life. So
yeah. Well, do it again next week, dog.
Yeah. Do it. All right. Next matchup was Corey versus Anthony. Anthony, go for it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. Obviously, I wasn't expecting much. I did at one point. I was obviously keeping a close eye on all the games, but not having a quarterback obviously hurts. I was hoping for the Desmond Ritter situation for Kenny Pickett.
Why didn't you? I mean, it wouldn't have mattered, but why didn't you make the change from Lad McConkey?
I think it was just too late. I didn't realize.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would have put.
He did get ruled out, like I think right before the game started. So
yeah,
after the first games, but he could have put Quentin Johnson in. So
yeah, it was too late. But yeah, I was actually predicted at like maybe could have been like 1 second, literally. I don't know, but I was predicted at the point that I looked at the app that I was gonna win. It was like 53-47 or something like that, and then second half comes and it didn't work out for me. But no surprise.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Sherwood getting you 26.5 points in the early games probably bumped up your predicted total, but having to start Kenny Pickett is a little unfortunate.
Give me anybody. I mean, I don't know. I was hoping
literally both of your quarterbacks.
Yeah, it is what I looked at it. I looked at this week and maybe a few weeks ago, and I was like, well, if I could run the table, I need to figure out a way to get a quarterback because Corey is no easy task, but it's fine. It is what it is. Like you said, on to next year.
Not on to next year yet.
Oh, well, for me, yeah, I guess I can win the toilet bowl.
Go win the bracket down.
Yeah, sure.
The losers bracket.
And I think I will. I think everybody in the losers bracket sucks. Yeah. I'm looking at all these teams here in the bottom 6, and I laugh.
You laugh?
Oh, yeah.
At them? Ha ha ha. All right. Next matchup was Rob versus Adrian. This was just a beatdown.
Yeah. I mean, what did you say? Like Rob scored the 3rd most points ever in the league?
3rd most all time. Congratulations, Rob. Getting number 3. I think you missed out. Let's look. I think it was like by like 0.8 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, having the Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson stack is pretty OP. And then, Isaac Garendo before he got hurt and will now miss forever was doing pretty awesome. So well done.
So yeah, Anthony, you're number 2 with 258.42. So he came in with 258.08.
Nice. Congrats.
Who's number 1?
Yeah, boy.
Oh.
That happened this year too. But yeah, I mean, Rob's team shows that he can absolutely put up these big games, and that terrifies me. Honestly, everybody in the playoffs can put up these big weeks, so it's going to be interesting for sure. I think it's going to take consistent 200-point weeks to get to and win the championship from here on out.
I would agree.
Bet you I win the championship, and this week I score less than 200 points.
What do you want to bet?
Oh, no.
I don't know. We can figure it out later.
Anything else we want to add, gentlemen?
Nope.
I don't think so.
All right. Perfect. We'll go on to talk about just some key injuries like we did last week. Jonathan Brooks pulling out for the dude fucking sucks.
Yep, retore his ACL.
Retore the dude's ACL. So there goes pretty much the entirety, if not the entirety of next season. So he's got 1.25 games under his belt. A second injury to the same ACL on a team that just signed the other running back to a 4-year extension. So my prediction is that he gets traded on the cheap.
If you have
the Chargers, and he has a pretty good season after tearing his ACL the next 3 years.
That's perfect. I was gonna, if you have Jonathan Brooks, would you, like in fantasy, would you get rid of him or would you keep him? Hoping
hold on to him.
Yeah.
You hold on to him because he's not worth anything.
Yeah, he's literally not worth anything. So you hold on to him. You just ride him on the IR or your taxi squad, and you hope he can come back and actually be relevant, and or you use him in a package once he is prepped to come back, because that's when people will start to kind of roll the dice and say, yeah, I'll take a shot on him. So then it would be up to you to decide, am I taking that shot? Do I need that for my team? Or is he a better trade piece for me? I've got him in a couple of locations and both teams are competitive, so I'll probably just ride him out until he is ready to come back.
Do you think the Panthers try and get another running back to pair with Chuba since they drafted someone so high like that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think it won't be another rookie, though. I think it'll probably be a veteran that they can bring in. They might snag another rookie, but it won't be another high-profile one.
Raheem Mostert becomes a Carolina Panther next year.
Blah. Raheem
I wouldn't. I mean, he's out right now with an injury, right? Mostert?
I don't think so. I think he just is out because he's bad.
He's a healthy scratch every game.
No, he's not a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get very much work.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he suits up. I think he blocks on plays, but I don't think he's getting any carries.
Oh.
He's gotten a few here and there, but he just hasn't looked very good.
Other injuries, obviously, you mentioned Aiden O'Connell. Justin Herbert got banged up. I didn't really see that. I think he came back in the game, though. Do you guys know?
Yeah, he did come back.
Don't.
He did come back.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay. Derek Carr got concussed and broke his arm. Pretty impressive. That play was fucking dumb.
He's doing it in solidarity with his wide receiver.
Trying to be a hero.
Trying to be a hero. And then Isaac Garendo and Bucky Irving, who did not come back. I tried to trade for Bucky Irving. Anthony said
sure
no.
Did.
And the fantasy gods punished him by injuring him.
So I can't see the only way for me to avoid it was to not look at my phone. Otherwise, because Mark sent me the trade. Too bad I looked at my phone, I guess.
You can't even acknowledge the trades from Mark.
No.
Those voodoo dolls, you know?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of trades,
Let's trade review. There were a few. Not any big splashes. I did try to make a couple of big splashes, but I was hoping for at least one. But there were 3 trades this week.
yes.
So we had myself and Brian. I got Mac Jones and Luke Schoonmaker. Mocker? I don't know how it's pronounced. And Brian got 2/3. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't know. Mac Jones feels like a weird pickup. He just feels like a Brian Hoyer from here on out for the rest of his career. So he'll be a spot start that you'll never, ever start. But I know what you're doing. So
Yeah, I mean, I did it because I wanted to snag another quarterback just in case somebody got injured, so that I had another option beyond Anthony Richardson. And I thought that Jake Ferguson was going to be out this week, so I thought Schoon would be a good spot start for me in what I was expecting to be a high-scoring game. So I took him as an option, but then obviously Ferguson did actually play, so and they were both bad.
yeah, Cooper Rush very clearly favors Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. So
I think it's a good trade for Brian. He didn't have very many picks, I think, in the
Yeah.
middle of the draft next year. So he doesn't need Mac Jones or
Nope.
Spoonmaker. I know his name is Schoonmaker,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna call him Spoonmaker.
Whatever
yeah.
the fucking name is.
he doesn't just make cutlery; he only makes spoons. Yeah, I agree. I think that this works out for Brian. If anything, he can, use these to package to try and like move up a little bit in the second or the first or something. So
Yeah, for sure. I think Brian won this trade as well. That was just the only currency I had to go get what I thought I needed.
But at the same time, I do think it's a good idea to get another quarterback because he is starting for the rest of the year, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a good even trade.
Yep. Okay, next trade was between Anthony and Rob. Anthony received Nick Benito in a 4th rounder. Rob received Jatavian Sanders in a 4th rounder. Bitch, what?
Would you like me to explain myself?
Explain yourself.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I think it's so I with the picks at the very least, I move up in the 4th round. I mean, obviously 4th round picks are not super valuable, I guess. I will point out I did pick up Tyrone Tracy in the 4th round last year. So I want to be as high as I can. And
only because commissioners are forgetful.
yeah, well, that's not my problem.
Because the commissioner and the rest of the league are forgetful.
I'm sorry,
and you, sir, you're not sorry.
I'm not sorry, but I am sorry. I'm gonna make sure I remember this year. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure I remember.
Yeah, we've got it again. I think what I'm gonna institute is just that we put a pause after every round.
Yeah, and then so I like Nick Benito. I like where he's going, and I would just like to, solidify some IDP a little bit. He is a young linebacker on a good defensive team. And I think that maybe in his 3rd year can, have a better year than he's having this year. I think he's having a good year this year. And I have plenty of tight ends. I don't need Jatavion Sanders.
Okay.
And yeah,
so
I'm good.
Do you want my critique or do you want me to fuck off?
Fuck off.
I guess for podcast purposes, go ahead and give it to me.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
So I made this argument to Alex. I don't remember if I made it on podcast or if I was just talking to him, but I'll put him on blast here too. So similar thing with the trade that he made with Rob to send ETN for Jordan Mason. This isn't necessarily a bad trade, and I understand what you are doing. However, when you put the pieces together, you gave up the most valuable asset in Jatavian Sanders. He's a rookie tight end with a young quarterback. Tight ends take a little bit of time to develop. You don't know that you have anything beyond Brock Bowers at tight end. You're guessing. And so it's not a fair trade. You gave up more currency and received less currency. It's a bad trade for Anthony. That's how I look at it.
I would agree that Jatavion Sanders is better for sure. I mean, he's the young rookie tight end, whatever. But I have some plans, okay? I have some plans, and I wouldn't have been starting Jatavion Sanders. Trust me, you'll see. And when I do this and I execute this plan, okay, I'm going to say 58 minutes in the podcast. I said it right now. Go back and listen. And I'm going to say, it worked out for me, baby. Just you wait, okay?
Okay.
Just you wait.
Did my conspiracy theory post about Nick Benito have anything to do with it?
It did not. Not a single thing. I actually have him in my Empire League, and I'm like, he's been doing really well since I picked him up. And I was like, how old is this motherfucker? He's like 23 years old, 24. He's in his second year. I like Nick Benito. I'm gonna probably start him every game, but I don't need Jatavion Sanders. Benson, no, I will keep him. I have plans for him too, but you'll see.
He is pretty in a masculine way, you know.
He's a nice looking guy.
Who is Jatavion Sanders or Nick Benito?
No,
Benson, no.
no. Nick,
Oh, sorry.
because Benito.
We're all thinking different people here.
I got it. I get it now.
Ooh. Somebody play the badooms.
I just did it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, last trade was Ryan and Rob. Ryan got a 2026 third. Rob got Patrick Taylor and a 2026 fifth. Yeah, I don't really care that much. Low value pieces, whatever.
I mean, Ryan's stacking 2026 picks, so he's just collected another, you know?
It is a low value trade or low value pieces, but I do like that Rob did get the potential starter for, maybe the next couple of games, and maybe he needs a running back. And every running back that is in that system has a double-digit fantasy game. So I think it's fine. And a third pick for Ryan, whatever.
Yeah,
he has 75 of those.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, we will take a quick break here and be back with the polls and awards for the week.
Recording.
Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks for allowing us to take that quick break. We are going to jump into the awards for this past week. So as usual, we will start with the GM owner of the week. I'm not looking at the polls yet here, guys, but I will start with my pick. This was a tough week to make a decision. I wanted to pick Rob and picked Rob initially, but I actually landed and voted for Greg. 98.9% efficiency. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I voted for myself here just because, like, I obviously didn't really realize that. Like, I know that I picked the right players, but, like, it was one of those that's a cool stat.
Yeah, I think any other week I would have voted Rob for sure, but 98% is impressive. And you did have a couple of options that, you could have went with, and you didn't. So good job.
Thanks.
So we all voted for Greg?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what the polls said on this one. We had 2 people vote for Matt. We had 4 people vote for Greg and 2 people vote for Rob. So Greg gets the win this week.
1 person agrees with us. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It was Ryan.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a tough week to make that decision for sure, because on top of making the third all-time, right, at 258.08, he also, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, he also made a couple trades. So, like, that should be acknowledged as well and a part of it. Regardless of how you feel about those trades, he's making moves for his team. So, yeah, but seeing 98.9%, that's pretty much a perfect lineup.
Your boy.
All right, next one was transaction of the week. I voted for the one between Rob and Anthony. I think that was the most impactful from a dynasty perspective from the week, with Jatavian Sanders being involved.
I voted originally for the Yankees lose out on Juan Soto to the Mets, but I'm changing my vote because I don't actually vote for that. He's in my division now, and so I voted for the trade between Ryan and Rob, where Ryan got the 2026 third, because I just love that Ryan's out here trying to acquire as many picks, not next year, but the year after.
Yeah, I also voted for Ryan and Rob, but for the reason for Rob specifically, because he had an injury. He picked up a player that could step in and fill that hole, and he's trying to make moves. He's not being just complacent, and I think that's good.
He's a hell of a trier.
He certainly tried very hard this week. That was his energy that went into his team.
So that was the winner, the trade between Ryan and Rob with 4 votes. All right, start of the week. Another tough one, but I ended up voting for Matt and starting Zach Charbonnet over ETN. Yeah, I think it's just a good, smart decision, and it really worked out for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's who I voted for as well. I just feel like Zach Charbonnet is, not a solid. He doesn't feel good when you're starting him. So, well done.
I voted for Sam Darnold because I'm never not going to vote for Sam Darnold. But I also think that starting Charbonnet over ETN was a very, very easy choice. I don't think I would have thought twice about it, so I didn't vote for that.
Interesting. Really? I mean,
ETN,
I guess Sharp has been good, but like has ETN really been that horrendous that he's not even considered?
He hasn't had a double-digit game since week 5, and it was only 10 points. So that's why I like Charbonnet personally. Every time Kenneth Walker is hurt, he has very good games. So it was a great start. But ETN for me, I'm not a big ETN fan. Maybe because I just want Tank Bigsby to run that town. But I've never been a fan of him, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I guess I didn't realize that ETN had been this poor in the last few weeks. Maybe I'll change my vote.
Good job either way, Matt.
All right, what were the poll results there? It was Zach Charbonnet. It doesn't matter if I change my vote, so I'm going to leave it. And we'll delete that part of the podcast where I said I might change my vote.
You should all vote for Sam Darnold anyways. It's okay.
Should we?
Yes.
So real talk. If he doesn't sign with the Vikings, which doesn't look like he will, is he good next year?
I think it depends on the system.
Signed somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on where he goes. I mean, he went
Atlanta.
What if he goes back to the Jets?
Why would he go to Atlanta? He's going to go back to the Jets.
That seems like a likely thing that could happen. That very well could happen. But I mean, he has experience now. I mean, I really think that 1 year under Kyle Shanahan really helped him out, and he's obviously been with two bad teams prior to that, and like this team is good. So, I mean, confidence can go a long way, and I think he's going to be good next year too. I would roll with Sam Darnold. I would roll with Sam Darnold if I was the Vikings, but I know it's a money thing probably. So, it is what it is.
All right, we will jump into the Week 15 preview. We'll go through just the weeks like we usually do with the pick'em order. So we will start with the Rams versus the 49ers. Greg, what is the spread?
The spread is 3.5 in favor of the 49ers. I assume it's because they're home and it's a division game, but my instinct is to pick LA on this. I think LA can beat San Francisco at home, let alone cover the spread,
Yeah, I completely agree. When you said that, I was like, wait, in favor of? Yeah, no, give me the Rams.
Yeah, I would. That's a tough one. Yeah, I'm gonna go Rams. I would go Rams. I have no confidence in San Francisco at all.
As I say, fantasy relevance, like I think Brock Purdy will play out of his mind like he has been. I think that whatever running back gets handed the ball seemingly is good enough to score a lot of points on San Francisco's side. But, Matt Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, like just going to absolutely fucking eat, I think, this week. So they're just on fire. They're just going to keep going.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I think the Rams are just going to outmatch them this week. I think it's going to be as simple as that. I don't actually think it's going to be that close of a game.
I agree.
Okay, the next game in the lineup is Dallas at Carolina. The spread on this is only 1.5 in favor of Carolina.
That's tough.
Just let that silence sit there for a second, I think.
I mean, Dallas is bad. Carolina is worse, maybe. But they've looked better.
Well, okay. Dallas put up 20 against Dallas had a game against the Bengals where they lost by a touchdown. And then you have Carolina who just lost to the Eagles, but they only lost by 6 points. So they were down by literally a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even a touchdown, an extra point. So I don't know. Like it's funny because like it's just a bad game, right? But it's also kind of an interesting spread that I kind of want to take Carolina on this just because who would have thought they'd be a favorite at any point this season?
I am taking Carolina here because I believe that Chuba Hubbard can run all over Dallas's defense.
I think Micah's really good, but yeah.
Just for the sake of statistics, Carolina actually against the spread this year is 6-7 compared to Dallas's 4-9. It is saying it is very surprising that they would. Maybe it's the home, like they have a home field advantage factor of it all, but it's very close.
Carolina's also had huge spreads, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's fair. And but honestly, with those spreads, I mean, they've surprised a lot of people with how close games have been.
Yep.
Bryce coming back and being as good as he's been has been surprising. Honestly, it's just it's hilarious how far the Cowboys have fallen, and like I mean, they've fallen pretty hard this year, but
yeah, for sure. So we're gonna take another quick break. We gotta take the dogs out. We'll be right back.
Recording. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right. Thank you for that quick break for us. We'll jump back into the matchups here. I will go ahead and dive into KC versus Cleveland.
So the spread on this is 4.5. I'm in favor of Kansas City. This is in Cleveland, and I'm interested in kind of maybe picking them. I don't know. It almost feels like a game that, Kansas City's been having close games every week. So like 4.5 points isn't outside the realm of possibilities. Sorry for the squeaking if there's any in the background. But it's still interesting because I feel like this is a game that could have some like decent fantasy implications. Like with, Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes if Bo ends up starting him. And Jameis Winston, if he gets thrown out there, I don't know.
I mean, if.
Well, I don't know does Adrian have a bye in the other?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
okay,
he does. So,
gotcha.
So he doesn't have to worry about starting, Jameis Winston or anything. But Yeah, I don't know. I just think that this is a game that could be closer than the spread. So
I hope they fucking win. Fuck Kansas City.
Please. Yeah, I would go Cleveland because Kansas City's just been winning by the skin of their teeth. And I don't know, Jameis is on a high, and I think he's gonna pull it out for them. And it's gonna be one of those games where he has a really cool soundbite afterwards because he beat the almighty Chiefs. And I'm gonna love it. And I'm gonna get those points.
imagine if at the end of this season, Jameis Winston and Josh Allen were the only two players to have beaten Kansas City. Like the best quarterback in the league, and then one of the most beloved quarterbacks in the league took down the evil empire.
I hope so.
That'd be great. I'm really interested to see how Pacheco does. I'm curious to see how he closes out the season. I'm disappointed that he's not on a playoff team in our league. I tried to get him pretty bad. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I don't think so.
All right, perfect. We will jump into the next matchup. Miami versus Houston.
Yeah, the spread on this one is 3.5 in favor of Houston. It's in Houston, and Miami is scraping to try and stay in the playoff picture. I think we kind of need a few more things to happen, like outside of our control, to make it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna pick Houston. I feel like I said earlier, I'm not super confident in my team, in the Dolphins. That being said, like, depending on, how Houston's defense shows up to this game, it could be a boat race, you know what I mean? Like, just two offenses trying to score points on each other as much and as quickly as possible. So I'll have to see, because against Jacksonville, they only got,
that's not what that saying means, even though I think that you use it correctly. That saying means like it's a blowout.
Oh, I always thought it meant like two people just like exchanging, going, yeah, like just because it's like boats on open water, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just like go.
Right. That's what I mean. I think you use it correctly and everybody else is stupid. But yeah, that's not what that means. It means that you blew them out of the water, which is fucking dumb because that's not how boat races work unless there's a crash.
We should get Corey's opinion on this.
Yeah.
Corey, what's your as a person who spends objectively the most time on a boat, what's your opinion? Yeah, I'm probably going to take Houston here, but I think that this could be a game that they score a lot, or Houston could just blow them out. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there's not a whole lot that your defense is going to really be able to do with a healthy Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon, if CJ Stroud is on point. If CJ Stroud is not on point, then I think that this is going to be a boring game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Miami on this one, mainly because I need to catch up and I want to pick some weird underdogs here. Tua's been playing really well. I don't see why he doesn't continue playing well. I feel like they've been clicking. Houston's. I think all season Houston hasn't scared me at all. I feel like they've also been a team kind of like Kansas City, except they don't win. They're on the other end of it. Where the games that they do win, it's not an impressive win, in my opinion. Minus a few games where like Joe Mixon is blown up, but yeah, I can see Miami winning.
It's win over here. Don't impress Anthony much.
Houston just hasn't impressed me. I think they're going to be one of the playoff teams when they're in the playoffs right now, right? In real life, they're not going to scare anybody. I think it's going to be a game where no one's going to underestimate them, overestimate them. It's just a team to play.
They're going to be estimated.
Yeah, they'll be equally estimated.
Maybe next time you'll estimate me.
So you're taking Miami?
Taking Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to pick against them because that's how my brain works.
Hey, so Greg, What's going on with your wide receivers? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they going to be consistent? Are they going to just be a pain in my ass? What's going on?
Well, let's see. Tyreek Hill has more children in a calendar year than touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. It feels like whatever the wrist injury is bothers him a lot. He seems to be a lot more involved the last couple games.
Yeah.
That being said, like Jalen Waddle is going to continue to do Jalen Waddle things. Like it feels like he helps stretch the field, especially down the middle, but he ends up, not getting like he's becomes touchdown dependent and having like a really good week. And then Jonnu Smith is just kind of, taking the point, like taking a lot of points. Like Tua loves targeting him. It feels like, I guess he didn't get any targets or catches until, overtime this past week. But
this past week. But
prior to that, like it feels like Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane are his two favorite targets, and it's all just screen passes to the both of them,
Yeah.
So
preemptive, Greg, you think Tyreek Hill's done after this year? Think he hangs him up?
I don't know if he hangs him up, but I think he's kind of shown that he might be done.
Am I missing something? When has he shown that?
Yeah, I was gonna say he looked good this past week against the Jets.
But I mean, like, I guess the question as a whole, has he inferred or anything that he would hang him up?
Oh yeah, you didn't see. I think he tweeted it, or maybe it was an Instagram post.
He'll be done by 30.
Oh no, that was a while ago. Unless he did that recently, because I didn't see that one recently.
No, I just assumed that's what you're talking about.
No, a while back he said that he wanted to play out his contract.
Yeah.
And that was it. Then he reneged on that. Then he extended. But recently he had a tweet or an Instagram post, and I don't remember the exact verbiage now, but paraphrasing it was like, enjoy what you do because it will soon be over.
Okay. So he wants to stream Fortnite for the next 10 years.
Maybe.
I mean, it might just be one of those things where like he feels like he's underperforming or whatever. So like he's afraid that like Miami's gonna trade him and then I don't know, maybe it's not like him saying he wants to hang him up. He's just saying that like he's, he doesn't recover as quickly. So all of a sudden he's like, feeling a little mortal or something. But
well, then maybe he should hang him up.
Maybe. He should also get a vasectomy. The next game is the Jets at the Jags. The spread on this is 3.5 in favor of the Jets. Yeah, I think I'm going to pick the Jets to cover the spread here. I think the Jets win this game. I think that, do we assume Aaron Rodgers continues to go out there? Because, like, why not?
Yeah.
Or do we think he sits?
I think he plays for sure.
Yeah, I think he plays, and I think that they can beat the Jags. So, I think
that Aaron needs to prove that he can still be a starter in this league because he's done with the Jets after this year to another team. But I don't think that he thinks that he needs to do that. So I think he sits. I don't think he plays. Maybe not this week, but not the entire season. Yeah, not the rest of the season. I think he makes the decision to sit.
Watch him go right across the street, and he's a Giant next year.
Oh God! Please don't do that. God, just make my whole next 5 years of New York sports just stab a knife, stab me in that heart. Fucking.
What do you mean? The Yankees are still good, and the Knicks are looking great. You just don't have.
But there's just
Giants fandom.
It's just something. There's something somewhere every year that's just gonna stab me in a different sport. It's fine. I'm taking a Jacksonville Jaguars.
Probably what's going to happen is that the Giants will take it to roughly, 5/9 of the way through and drop the ball and probably sign Aaron Rodgers.
Damn it. Whatever, man. Whatever. I got that, all right?
don't know if anybody else did, but I'm glad you did.
No,
I
yeah,
didn't get that.
I'm glad Anthony did. That's all that counts. Okay, so just to jump back into this matchup, I don't
I'm
really
probably
want to
gonna.
talk.
I'm probably
about it
gonna
too
start.
much.
I was gonna say I'm probably gonna start Devontae Adams against Alex because he's still been, like last week he scored me 20 points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
he's been a reliable asset.
I think you got to start him against a really bad defense. The only thing you're afraid of is that somehow the Jets get up early because the Jags are that bad, and then they just run the ball the rest of the game.
You're starting Brees Hall.
I don't think Brees Hall plays, and no, I don't think I start Brees Hall.
Oof, that's a whole nother conversation. Where did Isaiah Davis come from? What happened there?
For sure. Like he was just out of the woodworks. Like, okay, here you go. Here's 10 fucking carries.
Wow.
Yeah, 14 points.
But it's also one of those things where I think they've been clear that all season they run a committee. And so it should have been more clear that, maybe we continue to see a committee usage. I'm desperately hoping that changes next season. But I think Brees Hall's done for the year.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to sit him. You're not playing for anything at this point, and you don't want to run your running back into the ground. You're starting Brian Thomas Jr., right?
Yeah, I think he's worthy of a start every week. He can score a touchdown every week.
I mean, I guess Adrian has him, so it doesn't matter that much.
He's
Bo starting Garrett Wilson, or is he sitting Garrett Wilson this week? Against Jacksonville, I probably start him if I'm Bo.
Does Alex start Aaron Rodgers?
Does he have a choice?
I think so. Yeah, he doesn't have. It's either Aaron Rodgers or who's his other backup that he has.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. Yeah. Derek Carr's out, so I think Aaron Rodgers is a start for sure. Sorry, Greg. Also, maybe not sorry. Aaron Rodgers sucks.
Yeah, I hate Aaron Rodgers. All right. So you said you're taking the Jets, right, Anthony?
Jags.
Oh, the Jags.
Yep.
Well, weird. Okay, so the next game is Washington at New Orleans. This is a 7.5 point spread in favor of Washington. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense with Derek Carr being concussed. We don't know, obviously, if he's going to make it back, but I assume not. So.
Wait, who?
Derek Carr?
No, he's done for the year.
Oh, yeah, he broke his arm. You're right. So, yeah. So
actually, they did say that there's like a chance he comes back, but he's done for the year.
So I probably lean taking Washington with the points or spite the points, whatever, just because I feel like they're going to be able to outscore New Orleans.
Yeah, I have nothing interesting to add other than I would take Washington as well. They're going to blow them up.
Yeah, I don't really know how New Orleans stays in this game, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll be like a blowout by any means, but I expect Washington to not really sweat much.
Yeah.
You know who I have been pleasantly surprised by is Terry McLaurin. So, for full disclosure, when I traded for Terry McLaurin, it was absolutely my intent to turn around and trade him away because I didn't think that Jaden Daniels could continue to do what he was doing against some of the defenses that he was going to have to play against. But he has still done it. He's still targeted Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin's still coming down with almost all of his catches. And he's been a pleasant addition to the team. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I think I said this earlier in the season or somebody else did, but like he finally just kind of got the quarterback he deserves, like
Yeah.
He's holding up his end of the bargain.
Yep, he looks good. They just need another option. and defense. Their defense has been looking better lately, though. Like, they're not getting fucking blown out anymore. It's not like Jaden Daniels has to throw the ball like he was at the beginning of the year to keep up. So they are looking better. But yeah, they need defense and another wide receiver.
Yeah. Okay, on to the next game that's also kind of like, not one to really write home about. It is Baltimore at the Giants. The spread on this is 14.5 points in favor of the Giants. No, I'm just kidding. In favor of Baltimore. Yeah, I don't know. Anthony, who are you picking with this one? Who did you pick with the last one? Sorry, I don't know if I heard you. Did you pick Washington?
I did pick Washington, yes.
Okay, just making sure. All right, so who are you picking with this one?
Picking Baltimore by 30.
Baltimore by 30?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. This might be a Denver Broncos like losing by 70 or some shit again, Like Giants are bad their defense is hurt, their offense sucks. I mean, Baltimore has a really bad pass defense, but we're running out Drew Lock, so nothing to worry about there. Yeah, Baltimore by 30.
Malik Neighbors looks like he's kind of just fed up with the season.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if I brought this up a while back to you guys, but like there was an interview that he had like post game where he's just chewing gum the entire time. And it's one of the most like noxious things you'll ever see or hear. And it's like, come on, dog. Like,
is he chewing it like while he's talking?
While he's talking with his mouth open, so all you hear is the chewing sounds. And it's just so fucking frustrating.
Thank you for telling me that. I will now be trading away all of my shares with Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, look it up. It's pretty horrible. Don't look it up. Just take my word for it. It's not a good interview.
If I had Malik Neighbors, I would totally trade him away just because of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad look. But yeah, Baltimore by 30. Not going to hesitate.
Yeah, I'm starting Derrick Henry and hope he goes off. This feels like a good week for him to have a lot of points in a week that I need him to.
Also feels like a week that he could not get a lot of work, because if they get out ahead, why run him into the ground? Why use him?
But I feel like he could snap off a huge touchdown early in the game, and at least like
that's what you need for sure. An early touchdown.
Him to finish with 17 or 18 points, on the low end, or 25 on the high end, and just kind of hope for a solid Derrick Henry week. So, I mean, Lamar Jackson. Are you playing Tyrone? Are you on a bye week, Anthony?
No, I play somebody.
Okay. So you're gonna play Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah, I don't have many other options there.
I feel like he has a choice.
I feel like he's gonna do okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless he fumbles the ball.
He's been doing okay, right?
No.
I mean, since week 8, 22 points, week 9, 7 points, week 10, 14 points, week 11 bye week, week 12, 6, week 13, 13.5, week 14, 16.8.
Okay. He's been doing good. I actually was just talking to Mark about this earlier, but like the fumbling is crazy. And it's just like against I feel like the moment of the Ravens, like I don't know. I just feel like I just see a bad game coming. I feel like I feel like Baltimore's gonna get ahead early. And maybe the Giants try to do some trickery shit with Tyrone Tracy, but I don't see a good game coming, to be honest.
Tyrone Tracy is Sony Michel confirmed.
I don't know what that means. I know who Sony Michel is, but
yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about there.
Didn't he get in trouble a bunch for fumbling, like with Bill Belichick?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody gets in trouble with Bill Belichick for fumbling.
Anyway, moving on to the next game. It's Cincinnati versus Tennessee. The spread on this one is 5.5 points in favor of Cincinnati. This just feels like a blowout for me. It might be close in the sense of the Cowboys were kind of close. Cincy's defense isn't very good, so anybody can score points on them. But I don't know. I just feel like their offense is very good, and while Tennessee's defense was serviceable or was pretty decent in the beginning of the year, I don't know that they've kept up with that. So,
well said. Yeah. I don't know that I have anything to add other than that Jamar Chase is him, and I think Joe Burrow is him as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you both said.
Timothy Burrow.
I'm going Cincy.
You're going Cincy? Yeah, I am too. 5.5 points feels like a easy enough spread for them to cover. They'll win by at least a touchdown.
They should.
All right, the next game is New England at Arizona. The spread on this is 6.5 in favor of Arizona. Arizona's at home here. I think 6.5 is something that they can cover. Arizona's feels again like one of those teams like they pop off when they want to, and it doesn't feel like it's all the time that they want to. So I don't know. I'm a little torn here, if I'm being honest, with a 6.5 point spread.
What are your thoughts, Anthony?
I'm gonna go Patriots. I think the Patriots haven't looked bad, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm forgetting, but I feel like the past few games they've played have been pretty close, right? I think
you're right.
Yeah, they've been pretty close. I could see them covering for sure. I could even see them winning this game because Arizona's another team like Houston. They're on the other side of it, and they just haven't looked impressive to me at all. Kyler Murray, as the season's going on, is looking less impressive to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go Patriots.
So yeah, you shouldn't be surprised that I'm taking the Patriots here. I think we put up a fight in most games. We have definitely the propensity to get beat up. It depends on our defense. If our defense can be disciplined, which has been a problem, we've got a lot of penalties on the season. But if our defense can be disciplined, then they keep us in the game. And Drake May has been good enough, and Ramondre Stevenson has been good enough to keep the offense moving enough. So I think that we keep this game close. I'm also very nervous about Marvin Harrison this week, but I don't think that I have a choice but to start him. But Christian's going to be on him.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think I'm going to go against you guys. Kyler's going to have a good week in COD, and he's going to carry over to the game. So
he's going to have a 3.0 KD ratio.
He's going to get a nuke. I don't know if that's still a thing.
Probably. What were you going to say, Anthony?
I don't remember. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The next game is Indy at Denver. Spread is 3.5 on this in favor of Denver. Yeah, I think I still take Denver here. I really like how their team has looked. I mean, who hasn't, right? They're 8-5 with a rookie quarterback, which is really impressive. I think it's really interesting to me how you look at the Russell Wilson situation now that we're, almost the whole season removed from him being in Denver and having, a few games under his belt. And it's crazy how good both situations look without each other. Russell Wilson looks pretty decent playing in Pittsburgh. It seems like having a coach that's not Sean Payton is a good thing for him. Mike Tomlin, is doing really good things there. But then you look on the other side and you have a player like Bo Nix, and he steps right into an offense that ultimately Russell Wilson kind of had. Sure, he had Jerry Jeudy instead, but, it just feels impressive, I guess, for both on how well they're doing. And I think Denver walks over Indy here. I think they win by at least a touchdown. So I take Denver.
I agree.
I honestly haven't watched a lot of either of these teams this season. So I don't really have a feel for what's going on with either of these teams. I have both Vele and Franklin, and they are inconsistent at best. Obviously, the offense runs through Cortland Sutton, so it's just a matter of stopping him, and it seems like nobody can. So
Well,
give me
and Bo
Denver.
Nix. It runs through Bo Nix with him running.
Does
There
he
you
run
go.
a lot?
I feel like he has pretty decent legs.
He can make some he can make some good
can.
moves, and he gets out of the pocket a lot and makes some really good passes.
It looks like it's not a core part of his game, but he definitely can have games where he pops off. 10
Yeah.
for 75, 6 for 61, 9 for 47. So yeah,
It's pretty It's pretty regular. You see like plays on Red Zone
Yeah.
or whatever where he has like a 25-yard first down that he gets or something.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely seen a highlight of Bo running, and I feel like he runs goofy.
who do you take, Anthony?
I am going Denver.
The Broncos. Okay. The next game is Buffalo at Detroit. This is a really good game.
It's a tough one.
Might actually like look forward to watching this. But the spread here is 1.5 points in favor of Detroit because they are at home. So it's basically a pick'em game. It's as close as it gets. And I think I take Buffalo. I think Buffalo, this could be a potential Super Bowl preview for us. And I'm interested to watch. But I think Buffalo wins.
Do you think Buffalo goes into Detroit and disrespects Detroit?
I think Josh Allen wins games. Just it doesn't matter how.
He hasn't won 3 of them.
Sure, but you want to talk about people who are him. Josh Allen is him. Like it is. He's a very impressive football player. So I think he can win a game against Detroit.
No.
I think I'm gonna go Detroit here. I'm gonna go Detroit. I think Josh Allen is on an incredible run that's got to end at some point, and if it's gonna end, it's gonna end against a good defensive team. And everybody, I feel like everybody is giving. Obviously, they're super incredible on offense, but they also are pretty good defense too. And I think this will be the week that he gets. I think Josh Allen will score under 30 fantasy points. Hot take. Boom.
Bold statement, sir.
Yep.
Bold. Wow. What a statement. What a prediction.
Yep.
I'll give you one. Jared Goff outproduces Josh Allen this week.
That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I disagree either, to be honest with you. But
I mean, I could see that happening. I think that, obviously I think that's literally what it's going to come down to is it's going to take Jared Goff outproducing Josh Allen to win this game. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to come down to which quarterback wants it more. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. 2 really good teams. I really hope this is the Super Bowl matchup. It's the one that we all want. I saw a meme that this is a Super Bowl America wants, and it was Detroit versus Buffalo. It was like, this is the Super Bowl we're probably going to fucking get. And it was Kansas City versus the Eagles.
yep.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I will be sitting there watching it, disappointed in the results. Either way.
All right. The next game is Pittsburgh at the Eagles. The spread on this is 5.5 in favor of the Eagles. I spoke highly of Russ in the Pittsburgh offense, and I think, Mike Tomlin is an impressive head coach. Coming into the season, I feel like everybody was really confused on what was going on in Pittsburgh, and clearly they knew exactly what they were doing. So that being said, I think I take Philly here to cover the points. They're just an unstoppable offense that keeps going. So
I'm also going to go Philly. Oh, no, I lied. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Philly does have an incredible offense, but Steelers are always hanging around, man. And I feel like this is going to be a statement game where I think if Pittsburgh pulls this off, just a outright win, I think they can challenge deep into the playoffs.
If this was in Pittsburgh, I'd agree with you. This is in Philly. Weather's going to be a factor. Crowd's going to be a factor.
Saquon's going to go off.
I think Saquon really wants that record. I think it's going to be a close matchup, though, so give me the points.
So you're taking Pittsburgh as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's better than I've been giving them credit for, and I think that I have to give them credit for it. Philly wins this game, but I think give me the points.
That's fair.
Okay. Next game is Tampa at the Chargers. The spread here is 2.5 in favor of the Chargers. To kind of, I guess, go off a little bit of what you were just saying about Pittsburgh, I think that that's how I am with the Chargers. I think that they're a better team than I give them credit for. So I'm going to take them. I'm going to try and change my tune just to see Tampa lose.
I'm going to go Tampa.
Tampa.
Yeah, I don't have anything huge to say about it, but I mean, Justin Herbert did come back into the game, but he is still banged up.
Yeah, I was going to say this is impossible for me to choose because if the Chargers are healthy, I go Chargers. But if they are not, meaning that if either Justin Herbert or Ladd McConkey miss, give me Tampa.
But I mean, Bucky Irving has a chance to be out, or if not limited, this game.
Yeah, so they'll just lean on White.
Yeah, Rachaad White's also pretty good.
Yep. So you better hope Bucky Irving plays, Gregory.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I guess it depends on whether Ladd McConkey comes back or not, like to be your point about whether they're healthy or not. So,
yep. And then you've got Bo trying to make that decision again, Mike Evans or probably Garrett Wilson.
I feel like I'd play Garrett Wilson just because of who the matchups alone, you know?
Yeah, matchups. Yeah, it's a tough choice. I hope he makes the wrong one.
Alex never starts Rachaad White. He's stupid. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Are you just going back and looking at his lineups?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, to be fair, I mean, the starters that he are good.
I was going to say, you're not going to start him over Alvin Kamara. You're not going to start him over David Montgomery.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
But what's his flex? I don't know his team that well.
His flex is Kamara, so let's take the L on that one. But
wait, his flex
he never starts him. Alvin Kamara.
Wait, who's his other running back then?
Montgomery and Connor.
Oh, James Conner. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. The next game is Green Bay at Seattle. The spread here is 3.5 in favor of Green Bay. And I think that is, I feel like probably how I feel about this game. Like, it's going to be close. Both teams are pretty interesting to me. I'm curious. I'm interested because, like, my quarterback matchups right now are Geno Smith against Green Bay or Kirk Cousins against Vegas.
Don't even think about Kirk Cousins. Get that name out of your head.
Have you seen Kirk Cousins? Have you seen what's happening with Kirk Cousins?
It feels like this could be a bounce back game for him with how bad Vegas could be.
And you're gonna roll those fucking dice week 1 of the playoffs. You're going to go off of a gut feeling that this might be the week that he doesn't throw 4 interceptions?
That's how good teams lose, Greg.
Yeah, I know.
That's a Dolphins fan right there.
Skylar Thompson's it. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean,
Do I start Kirk Cousins? You're lucky you have us.
lucky. Yeah, I mean, who do you take though? Like 3.5 points. Do you have Seattle with points, or do you think Green Bay can beat them and cover?
Do I think Green Bay can cover? Yes, I do. I pick Green Bay.
I also go Green Bay.
Josh Jacobs is unstoppable. Ken Walker's hurt.
Yeah, but Zach Charbonnet has looked great.
Zach Charbonnet looked good. He looked great against Arizona. In his opportunities against the Jets, he didn't look good. And that's it. So, yeah, give me Green Bay. I just think they're an overall better team.
Okay. The next game is Chicago at Minnesota. The spread here is 7.5.
You said Chicago. I thought you were going to go with Minnesota.
Minnesota. The spreads here is 7.5 in favor of Minnesota. This feels like one of those games that like Chicago has looked pretty decent. They can keep up. Caleb Williams can score points, but again, when you're sacked 80 times a season, it's hard to, win games. But Sam Darnold can look like what he did last week. You know what I mean? And if that's the Sam Darnold that shows up, then Chicago doesn't have a chance in this game. So I think I take Minnesota here with the point, like to cover the points.
I want to do a big old skull chant because I also take Minnesota. Skull! Go. That's my chant. I don't have anything else. Sorry.
That was so good.
You're talking to the one and only Sam Darnold lover. 14. Minnesota's going to blow him up.
Blow him up?
Blow him up. It's going to be like a 24-point game.
Yeah, I expect that too. I'm taking Minnesota as well.
Let's go.
Yeah, I just think that they're a much better team than Chicago is. It's wild that they're 11-2, but they're a really good team. I mean, Sam Darnold has looked good. Aaron Jones has looked decent. Justin Jefferson, I would never trade if I had him. That would be really embarrassing. Jordan Addison has looked good the last few weeks. Hawkinson is back. Their defense is good. Yeah, Minnesota's a much better team than Chicago. I don't think they stand a chance. However, this is the Monday night game that we will be watching and paying attention to because the other one, we do have two this week. The other one sucks.
I didn't even realize this was the Monday night game. Yeah, the other Monday night game this week is Atlanta at Vegas. The spread right here is 4.5 in favor of Atlanta, even though they have thrown very many interceptions the last few weeks. I think I take Atlanta with the points, but I don't know. You guys are making compelling arguments about how bad Kirk Cousins looks, so.
Like, honestly, he's looked real bad.
But, like, who does Vegas have at quarterback?
Desmond Ridder.
Okay, but that's not going to make Kirk Cousins play well.
Okay, but Desmond Ridder still has to at least score some points. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a bad game.
So Atlanta's going to win somehow, but it's not going to be pretty.
I think Atlanta wins by the cover.
What's their defensive back? Jesse Bates. He'll get a pick 6, and that'll be the end of the game. That's it, 6-0.
That's it? Nah, they'll just kick a bunch of field goals.
That's actually pretty funny.
Ah, shit. That means I should probably start Young Wei Koo in the fucking league that I have kickers.
What are the odds you see Michael Penix come in if he
0.
throws like another 2 interceptions?
0 without injury. Injury is the only way that they sit that man.
Yeah, I guess they're still in the playoff hunt, so you got to go with your best shot, right?
Yep. And you paid him a lot of money. Yeah, I think Atlanta definitely wins. Do they cover? No. No, I don't think so.
So you take Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it for the games this week.
All right, perfect. We will jump into the fantasy matchups. So before we jump in, congratulations are in order to Bo and Corey for getting the number 1 and 2 seed and getting that bye week this week in the playoff bracket. We also have Adrian and Ryan in the consolation bracket getting a bye week, so they automatically move on to the next round.
Congrats on being the best losers, guys.
Yep, best losers, which is fucking wild. Adrian has the second pick.
Right?
Truly upsets me.
It really upsets you.
Furious.
And then he's like, I didn't realize how we selected the draft order, and now I'm mad about it.
Brock Bowers destroyed me.
Okay, so the first matchup that we'll cover. Oh, before we dive in, so Sleeper doesn't have the matchups up right now because not anything is quote unquote finalized until stat corrections are done. But I'm 99.9% sure nothing can change. But because we don't have the easy access to the matchup information, we kind of have to go a roundabout way to get the details of everybody's team. So forgive us if we stumble a little bit through this. We're kind of going through multiple screens. But the first matchup is myself versus Rob. I am fucking terrified, guys.
Yeah, I would be pretty terrified.
I'm fucking terrified, guys. Like,
Good
I
reason to be
understand my
terrified.
team can be good and put up points, but so can Rob's. And I've got some tough matchups this week. I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the biggest thing I would be worried about is, one of the last games we kind of talked about with the Vikings against Chicago. Like, you think that Chicago won't even really put up that much of a threat, but you better hope they do a little bit because you don't need Sam Darnold to show up and throw fucking 5 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I don't need that at all.
so. But
so yeah, I'm terrified, but it should be close. Both of our teams are good. Again, I think it's gonna take a big week from one of our teams to get this. I don't think that this is gonna be one of those that's $160 to $170. I think this is gonna be one of those that's 200 to 210 or something like that.
Yeah, but you have Lamar Jackson against the Giants, and that feels like you could score a ton of points there. And then you have Jared Goff, who's going to be in, a shootout, not a boat race,
The more
against Buffalo. So I I think that your concern is legitimate. But that being said, I think that with him having to figure out, another running back to play.
He doesn't have to figure out really anybody. He's got Ramondre sitting there. He's got Sincere McCormick sitting there. He traded for Patrick Taylor. So he's just got to figure out which one to play. But he's got options.
Yeah. I guess you play Ramondre probably, but
I would go Patrick.
I don't know. I just feel like
Anthony, who would you start?
Patrick Taylor.
Ramondre, Sincere McCormick, or Patrick Taylor?
Patrick Taylor.
I would start Sincere McCormick. All right, Rob. Good luck. Choose incorrectly. I'm just kidding.
Maybe
I have
Devin
no idea who
Singletary.
I'd start. Yeah, start Devin Singletary. Yeah, it's one of those things where the teams line up fairly well against each other. So again, I think it's gonna be a really close matchup.
He could swap in Chuba Hubbard, and then he has Nico Collins coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah. He's got a scary team. I mean, that's how all the playoffs like preview here, but all the playoff teams are like teams that you're like, holy shit, like I'm kind of nervous because everybody can pop off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And then
Everybody has proven it.
And then also we've seen every team have a week where they win, or not every team, but a lot of teams where they win, but they win because they played one of the two teams in the league that they would have beat. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Good luck.
So who you guys got?
I got you.
I also have Mark. I think Lamar Jackson's going to torch the Giants. He's going to get you a ton of points.
Hell yeah, I ain't scared. Fuck you, Rob. I'm just kidding. I'm not scared. You don't intimidate me. I'll whoop your ass, boy.
I need you to knock him out early because I have his pick. So he cannot win a game in the playoffs, please.
He's not going to, dog. Don't worry about it.
All right, do what you need to do.
Fucking bag. In the
I appreciate
bag. It's gonna be me and Greg in the finals, and I'm gonna whoop that ass too.
It's private.
Nope, we're gonna put on the display, put on a show. It's gonna make everybody uncomfortable.
All right. So the next game is my game against Alex.
Yes, sir. The 3 seed versus 6 seed. Please beat Alex. Again, it puts a smile on my face every time that man loses in this league. It's so great every time it happens because he thinks he's so good.
Yeah, but is he the new Ryan?
Yeah, because Ryan's out of the way.
Okay.
When Ryan gets back, if he ever does, then it'll just be again, fuck Ryan Sellers. He can never win.
Second place always.
Second place always. That's the best he can do. I'm still mad that he won that league one time. It's my biggest regret. So yeah, I've got you, Greg. I think fairly easily. I think your team is much better than Alex's team. Again, to the degree I think Baltimore's just gonna beat up all game. You got Saquon. Saquon should beat up all game. Amon-Ra's going to be in a shootout, so he doesn't often have bad games like last week, so he should bounce back for you. So yeah, I think your team is going to pretty handily move on. You should not be nervous, which means you probably should.
Yeah, I am. I'm just, Alex's team is a team that we said it many times this season can pop off kind of all of a sudden.
And he has some voodoo going on.
And I have, unfortunately, I'm probably playing 3 Dolphins players against Houston's defense, which, isn't the best matchup for anybody. But yeah, I hope I win. I feel like I have to pick myself now that we're in the playoffs, but yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Where were we? Talking about Alex versus Greg, right?
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that I'm taking me because I need to have confidence in my team to win this and hope that Alex's team just doesn't pop off. So, who you got, Anthony?
I get it, Greg, but I don't know why you're nervous. I get naturally you're going to be nervous, but your team is so much more consistent and so much better than Alex's. If you lose, you shouldn't be sad. You should just be angry at whatever Alex is doing in the background.
I mean,
want
that's
to be angry.
that's a reason to be nervous to lose to Alex. That would be a nervous feeling.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing.
Just that alone.
It's a lot of stress. I
do have
do
Greg.
want to pause here real quick just to kind of talk about a couple of scenarios, though, because this year is the first time that we're doing quote unquote reseeding in the playoffs. So what that means is that if Alex does beat Greg, he would not go on to play Corey as the bracket shows. It would be reseeded, and he would play Bo, and I would go play Corey, or Rob would go play Corey.
Ain't gonna happen.
At least that's how I understand what the definition of reseeding is, how Sleeper describes it. So if that's not what happens, I will be surprised. To be honest with you, I will be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would understand it to work as well, is that the lowest seed will play the highest seed always, every round.
Yeah, that's what I understood it to mean. That's why we made that change. So fingers crossed that's what happens, if that happens. But not gonna.
All right. So moving into the losers bracket, we've got Anthony versus Coulter. And Anthony, I think you win.
Why? Why do you feel that way?
Because like Coulter gets his quarterbacks back, but so do you. And like I just think Drake May and Bo Nix, like, you know, you've got Bo Nix, who this week is playing Indy, which is a pretty good defense to score some points on. Or they're not very good, so you can score some points on them. Sorry to be confusing about my verbiage there. And then you've got Drake May, who's playing against Arizona, which feels like a game that could potentially be one of those where they're, you know, trying to score points at the end to potentially, you know, win, or just, you know, trying to keep up. So I don't know. I think that on Coulter's side of things, he's got a decent, you know, again, he gets his quarterbacks back. So I guess there's that. But
so my take is that Anthony better be praying to the medical fantasy gods, because you have a lot of questionable players on your team.
Yeah, it's not good.
And Coulter's getting a lot of players back. It's not just his quarterbacks. He is also getting Zay Flowers back and Tank Dell back.
Yeah.
He is also getting, there was one other player that he was getting back as well this week.
Dalton Schultz. I don't know.
You talking about from injury?
Come back from, a bye week.
Oh, I mean, Jaden Daniel, CJ Stroud.
But yeah, you know, getting Tank Dell and Zay Flowers and CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels back, we know his team can put up big weeks. And if Anthony loses Lad McConkey
and Bucky
Irving.
Yeah, you're right.
And George Pickens.
Oh, he's out.
Seems healthy.
George Pickens is out.
George Pickens is out.
He's out.
All right. I take Coulter, and Anthony is now competing for the loser bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I will take Coulter as well.
Also, Karma is a bitch.
Oh.
Also, a cat.
Karma is my girlfriend
because it loves me. But Karma's a bitch, and Coulter's going to win the consolation bracket so that he gets back-to-back third-round picks this year, and he makes sure that we pause that bitch.
So he's going to get 3. Is that after the third round or after the third round?
After the third round.
So he's going to get 4-1 and 4-2.
3-14.
Oh my God. Well, that's unfortunate, but I think he's going to win. I actually like Coulter's team. I think he has a good team. He just has bad luck this year. But
yep, there's a lot of names on there, anyways, that look nice.
Yeah. I'll take Coulter. I think he's going to beat me. I think it's going to be close if I have
again, it just depends on the health of your players. If you get Lad McConkey and you get Bucky Irving, you're going to make a really good game out of it, because both of those players can blow up for you. So, you know, we've obviously seen your team can reach 200. It was consistently getting $170 for a while. So we know your team can do just as well as Coulter's team can do. So it's really all going to come down to the health of those two players.
I agree.
All right. The last matchup was Brian versus Matt.
I don't feel like this is a very hard one to pick. I feel like Matt wins this handedly.
I agree. I don't think there's much to say because Brian's team is just terrible.
Yeah. Sorry,
Not good.
Brian.
I mean, he went 0-14. Like, he knows.
He knows.
Yeah, he's winning that.
He's still sorry, you know? Sorry. Like, you know, it's one of those things where we're kind of seeing a couple of different trajectories from the teams that came in from the mass exodus that we had. And Brian, unfortunately, went really hard with trading. And we were looking back on some of those trades, and they just did not work out. So he gambled, and unfortunately, those gambles did not do it and have led to this. So hopefully, a few years from now, he can turn his team around. And hopefully, he enjoys the podcast enough that he gets enjoyment out of the league, anyways.
We'll do this all for you, Brian.
Yep. But yeah, Matt should pretty easily win this one. Matt's team is very good. Had a couple bad luck strokes there in the midway part of the season that unfortunately kept him out of the playoffs. But yeah, I think Matt's a dark horse here to take the consolation bracket as well.
I feel like Brian, coming in ultimately bottom last place is exactly what he wants, you know?
What were you saying, Greg?
I just feel like Brian coming in like dead last is like exactly where he intended to be, at the end of the season. So I don't think he's too surprised.
No, for sure. And again, from a rebuilding perspective, he's doing all the right things. He moved all the right pieces to do exactly what you're trying to get. He made a couple of really nice trades that I really like. So again, when we were looking back at whether I would take Brian's team or Ryan's team, yeah, Brian's team sucks right now, but I think he has some really good assets there. So while this season is kind of a disaster, it's one of those things where he does have some nice pieces. And if he makes one of those gambles work, because everything in this game is a gamble at the end of the day, if one of those gambles or two of those gambles can pay off for him, it's going to be 2 seasons before we see him back in the playoffs. Anything else to add, gentlemen?
I don't think so.
All right. We will end this week with a quick state of the league, quick playoff rundown and standings. We've got, or quasi standings. We've got Bo and Corey. Again, congratulations on getting the bye week. I hope you both lose next week. Especially you, Bo. Good God, whoever you play, I hope they beat you. And then we've got Greg, myself, Rob, and Alex. Consolation bracket, we've got Adrian, Ryan, Matt, Anthony, Coulter, and Brian. And then the 2025 draft pick order for the teams that we know so far: Brian, Adrian, Coulter, Ryan, Matt, and Anthony. So fellas, give me a couple predictions here. What's going to happen? Look into your crystal balls. Tell me what's going to happen. Who wins? Who loses? Who makes a run? Who doesn't? Make them spicy.
I win.
Boo.
Coulter wins the consolation bracket, so he gets a trophy after having bad luck this year. Not a trophy, but a pat on the back, I guess, digitally. And then my pick is that we don't hear from Adrian the entire offseason, and he suddenly somehow makes the best pick out of the draft order next year with the second overall pick.
I hope that's
like
not the
that.
case. I hope that everybody stays involved. And that's always my hope. That's always my expectation. Looking at you, Adrian and Alex.
Well, you can count out Alex. I'll
Both
tell you
of
that
you.
right now.
What?
So you can count Alex out. I'll tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
for sure. Yeah, I hope everybody stays involved throughout. But yeah, what about you, Anthony? Predictions?
I'm gonna stick with the same prediction I gave at the beginning of the season and say you're gonna win.
Who?
Since you're in the playoffs, you know.
Wait, who? We're talking to two people.
Oh, sorry, Mark Rowe. Oh, by Mark. I'll stick with that. I mean, I could see Greg winning for sure. Everybody keeps saying Greg's lucky. I think Greg has done a great job of sticking with his team.
Who says that?
I know people in the chat.
Don't say it to my face.
Hey, y'all don't say that.
And I do think there's a little bit of luck there. Obviously, just it's fantasy football, but I do think Mark's just team is going to overpower everybody, and yeah, and I think if you get by this first week, if you deal with any injuries, you got backups. I think you'll be fine. So that's my prediction for winner. I also have Coulter win the consolation bracket just because team is so good. He does have some players who are still like. I don't think they're solidified in being a playoff team, so I don't think he has to worry about any players, letting their foot off the gas kind of thing. So,
yeah,
I think Coulter is good there, and yeah, I just want to say this one thing real quick. Matt and Ryan, you couldn't score less points for me. That's fucked up. Okay, I was banking on you two being really bad, and Matt is 11 points away from me getting the third pick. Now I have the fourth pick. Is this horse shit? 241 points? Seriously? It's ridiculous.
Where did it come from? Fucking Josh Allen.
It's my fault. I did trade him Josh Allen, but
yeah, you did, you asshole.
But yeah, and I'm looking forward to the draft next year because there's going to be a lot of moves made. Ryan with the first pick needs more than just that first pick, and the second pick for Adrian could really change his team. And Coulter has a great team, so that third pick could really, really help his team too. So
yeah, for sure.
Because he's also good.
I will be immensely jealous during that process and during the draft. I will be so sad that I made all those trades.
Yeah, you'll get some picks back. Don't worry about that.
Maybe. We'll see.
That's my prediction.
Go. I'll be making trades. That's for damn sure. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll be very jealous of you guys up there at the top. But I also am very happy for you because I enjoyed the rebuild process. So I'm excited that you are excited about it, sir.
Nice.
It's funny how you put that as the top because when I win the league, I feel like I'll be looking down from the top. You know what I mean?
Ooh, what a sick burn.
Anyways, my predictions.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My predictions are that I win.
Boo.
And Coulter wins. As I
Sure,
already said. But I do think that Matt makes a really hard push in that consolation bracket.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say I'm really frustrated because I feel like I have the hardest path to the championship because I play Rob. And then assuming I beat Rob, I have to play Bo. At least I know everybody will be rooting for me. Right, guys?
I will be, for sure.
What?
I said, at least I know everybody would be rooting for me. Right, guys?
Maybe. Yeah, I want you to beat Bo.
Yeah, you better. For the good of this league. You better.
For the sake of this league, Bo can't win.
I will quit.
There's another mass exodus just because Bo wins again. Over it.
No, I said it, I think last time. I will kick Bo out straight up.
I
You're
thought
not
we.
allowed to play with me anymore.
I feel like we briefly kicked the tires on resetting the league if Bo won like 4 times in a row at one point. I feel like that was a thought, but obviously that would be ridiculous.
Yeah,
On
we
account
can't
of
do that. We can't just
I don't know. We can fix those tires again.
we can't just blow the league up.
Listen, buy here, pay here. Kick them tires. Let's do it. Let's make a rash decision.
I like that Bo is so good. So I want to be the one that beat. I mean, I would love for you to beat him, but
I want to be that good.
yeah, I want because he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose.
You don't win the championship, but you're a
That part.
perennial contender.
I don't even get second place. I just want to be the belle of the ball.
Well, I don't want you to win, so sorry.
Rude.
If I lose, I'll root for you, but I'm not gonna. All right, gentlemen. Anything else to add for the week?
No, I think we're good.
I think we're good. I'm excited for the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to the draft.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for another excellent week. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.